Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope all you are doing. Welcome to a new video tutorial from iPinWest. Today I'm gonna create something cool with React. So we're just gonna go ahead and try to create a login form, login and register pretty much using React. So I'm just gonna create a modern login form using the power of React and try to manipulate it and try to create very responsive, very friendly, user-friendly actually. So here's a demo what we're gonna create at the last of this video tutorial. So as you can see, we have a login and register, and you can put in here the field. It's just gonna have a really nice overview and layouts and all of that. So let's see the styling in here. Everything looks pretty much fine in here. If you try to submit something, we get user cannot, or username and fields cannot be empty actually. If we try to change the register and login, we can toggle between both of these, and actually between both of the boxes, and we can register or login and put in email, password and stuff like that. And we can run a couple of some checking, username cannot be empty. If it's the field is actually empty, we prevent him, and so on and so forth. So this is how we're gonna create it on the end of this video tutorial. So hopefully you can enjoy it, and make sure to know more about React if you're not already. So if you haven't actually learned about React, I have a full course series on my channel and my website in here. So you can go to iPinWest.com, build React application introduction and getting started, and you can learn actually via watching the video tutorial, or you can read through the written video tutorial. Both of them are very self-explanatory, so make sure to go ahead and do one of these. Actually, they're just gonna do the job perfectly for you if you really wanted to get a brief introduction into the React getting started. So make sure to go ahead and check this out before starting with this video series. So I would personally know that you actually have a basic knowledge of how React management projects works and how to set up a basic project on React. So let's just go ahead and start creating this. So let's start by creating, so this is the project I'm gonna work on. Make sure to go ahead, as I've said, to check out the video tutorials about basic setup of a normal React project. So here this is normal our HTML I'm gonna work on, and also the render.js under the login folder. So this is gonna be the main render.js for our application. Also we're gonna have a couple of ready-made styles, CSS styles for us. So if you can go ahead and login styles, so make sure to go ahead and grab this from the GitHub repository of this project, or from the video linked in the video tutorial below of my written video tutorial on my website. So make sure to go ahead and grab that from there, so you can just go ahead and follow along the series by putting the style the same as ours. So first things first, let's just go ahead and import everything from the React. So make sure also to install everything from npm, and yeah, here you should open with import. So I'm just gonna import React from we're gonna import this from React, and we're gonna also import React DOM from React DOM. Simple. Now let's just go ahead and create the main components that we're gonna render to the actual DOM. So this main component is gonna name it an app component, and we're gonna extend normally from the React .components as we normally do. So for the normal components, we're gonna need the props or the constructor and a props, and we need to initialize the super method into there. So props as well, and we're gonna need the state. So this .state equals empty state, and we're gonna need as well a couple of other things. Well, the render method, later on I'm gonna add multiple methods to this one, so not only one render method or something. So we're gonna add more than one render method. So here they're gonna be the render method, the main thing, and just for now let's just go ahead and return a div. They're gonna hello world, and simple right now. Let's just go ahead and render that to the actual DOM using the React DOM. So React DOM.render, and the render, it firstly takes which components we want to render. So we give it that components, and we say we want to render the app components right over there. And also where we want to render it is under the document.get element by ID under the roots component. So if you can go ahead into the index.html, you can find here an empty root div with an ID of root. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab that and render everything under this root container. So everything gonna be right over there. And this is it, simple as this. This is gonna use, also we're gonna use like an extension under the Visual Studio Code, which is like the live server, so we can work live without reloading the whole page or something, or just gonna like allow us to create a very quick server, development server actually. So make sure to go ahead and grab it from there. And here we go. So as you can see, just gonna like automatically does the server for us and refresh everything once you click it. It's called live server from the extension source. Make sure to go ahead and grab it. And let me just go ahead into the distribution folder where everything lies up, and here we go. So I don't know, let me just put that back, and okay, now everything seems to be fine. Let me just go ahead and see the console for everything. React is not defined. Well, I should not put that like this, so we should put this like that, and yeah. So as you can see, like reloading, and we've got the hello world. Now let's just go ahead and work for our application. So start with the containers and stuff. So as I've said, this style or the login style already is pre-made for you. So there's like a couple of containers, box controllers, and all of that, all of this styling classes we're gonna use for our application. So yeah, make sure to go ahead and grab that if you really want to like have the same theme as our login form. So here, as I've said, let's just go ahead and create this. So let me just wrap this between parentheses and we can start working with this. So the first things we have is a div with a class of a root container. So this root container is going to be like the main container that's going to hold of the main layout or the main structure of our application. The second thing is we're going to have like a box container. So also we're going to have here, if you like notice me typing very fast using some kind of dot notation syntax that's gonna create automatically HTML elements for me. This is called emit, so make sure to go ahead and learn about that if you're really astonished about it. Yeah, it's a very nice thing. Also, we're gonna have like the controllers, like the control bar we're gonna use for controlling between or toggling between the login and the register box, and we're gonna have like the main box for the login and the register boxes itself. So here we're just gonna have and go ahead and create like a box, or I believe I've already done that. So yeah, no need to do that as well. Now let's just go ahead and create the controllers. So like box controller. Yeah, gonna be like the controllers, and we're gonna have a couple of controllers in here. So let me just go ahead and call this normal controller, a single controller pretty much, and another thing is gonna be like a controller as well. So just go ahead and creating it this quickly, and this is gonna be the login, and this is gonna be the register. So this is gonna allow us to register between the login and the register boxes. And in this one, what we want is to render brand new components. Like, let's go ahead and create that brand new components right over the under just below the main application class. So we're gonna create a login box that is gonna extend from React.component, and so this is the same thing gonna happen in here. We're gonna have a super under there, props. We're gonna have this dot state equals that. So like you're just initializing a component over here, nothing more, nothing less. So the render as well, and here we're gonna render a couple of things under the actual main component. So this like where we want is to create a separate component for the login and the register boxes, so we can just go ahead and like render them separately here under the main application. So we can render the login box, and we can render the register box depending on everyone's layout. So we can just go ahead and create a separate layout for those, and let's just go ahead and do that for the render method. So what we want is like a couple of a container, that real nice container with under that container what we want is like a couple of input fields. For the login we want the username and the password, then the login button. For the register we want 3 fields: username, email, password, and a register button pretty much. So let's just go ahead and create that. What we want in here is an inner container, so a class of an inner container. And under the inner container, so we're gonna have like a box and like the old input that we're gonna need. So here we're gonna have a box, a class. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna class name box. Okay, here we go. And here we've got the, there's no from in here. I don't know why I've put it from over there anyway. And here we're gonna need like the import group. So we're gonna name this import group. So all of that classes are already included in the login style. So there's no like classes from Bootstrap library or anything like that. Everything is made for you over there. So just go ahead and grab that. We're gonna need a label for this. I'm just gonna like username, and this is gonna be like username, and we're gonna need as well we're gonna need an input for that, so it's gonna be name of username, and yep, so a placeholder of username. And yeah, very basic things. So we want the input, the label for the username, both of them, and we're gonna need like a couple of other more things later on in that, but this is like the input group what we want. So very quick, easy input group. Let's just go ahead and copy that, paste it right here, and we're gonna create the password input group in here. So it's gonna be password, password, and down here as well password, over here. So all of those gonna just change out to password, as well as the type need to be a password instead of text. And also we need here two classes, like a class name of login input. Just go ahead and copy that and have another class name in here, the same as the login input. And the last thing we're gonna need is a button as well. So yeah, we're gonna need a button for this job. So it's just gonna be the button, and there's gonna be a class name instead of class, and the class name is going to be login dash button. Okay, and here I'm just gonna give it a login. This is gonna be like a login. So this login, what we want is like an on-click function. So whenever we click that, we need to submit something under the like submit the actual form. So here we use the on-click event or the online event of a React component. So here the on-click means whenever the user clicks that button, event just gonna pop up, and we're just gonna put it in here between these curly braces, the callback that is gonna be executed once this on-click happened, once this event has been triggered. So here we're just gonna create a function that's gonna put it under the class or the context of the login box class. So let me just go ahead and name it submit login bind, and make sure to bind this. Why we bind this is like because the click event or any other events or any other like JavaScript event is not gonna happen immediately, because it's just gonna take that callback and store it somewhere, and whenever this callback or whenever this update has been triggered, it's just gonna grab this grab this callback that has been registered or stored somewhere else and call it. So it won't know about the context of this. So whenever here you put in here, let's say submit login in this one is gonna be like triggered whenever we submit login. It takes the event, and here whenever we use this keyword, so we need to bind it in order to know. So make sure to always bind that so it knows where it's actually the current context is working on. So yeah, very simple like this. This is how we trigger, or we give it like a box to work on, very easy in a very basic way. You can also go ahead and create another component, which can be pretty much the okay, this is not what we want. So we want just copy that and put it and create a register component. So yeah, let me just go ahead and change everything in here. So register box and everything in here. So submit login, submit register. So they're gonna be loads of code or functions or methods gonna be like common between both of these components. So we're gonna have the same methods just repeatedly, because they have the same functionality, like the validation and the on-click and checking and all of that. So they're just gonna be like a common methods between both of these components. And so register here and loads of other things. So I guess this is the register, and we need a header in here. So before the box, what we want is to put it in header. So for this header, we need to put it in a class name, and we put it in here like I believe a box header, and here we give it rich header. So since we are into the register box, we put it in here register, and as simple as that is gonna like give us a really nice header register just to know where we actually working on. And let me just go ahead and see this one to make sure like everything's pretty much working fine. And here we go. So we just called header instead of the full thing. So we're just gonna copy called header. Let me just copy that, go back and do the login and put it over there. So yeah, it's just gonna fit correctly over there with no problems. And yeah, this is it. Let me just see what is actually going on. Okay, putting this again. Okay, I don't know, something is just happening in here. Okay, the render button is not returning anything while it should return, but it didn't. I don't know why it didn't put the return over there, as well as the register box. So just both of them assign a return statement to them. And okay, now we've got both of them. Both of them actually have got a return. Let me just go ahead in here and see what actually we have. And here we go. So we have this really nice thing. We have a login register and a really nice empty box. It has like a box container in here and a controller, but nothing is being rendered because we haven't included that into the main component yet. So let's just go ahead and include it. So under the box container over here, we need to render both of these. So actually we can't render both of them because we want to toggle between either the login or the register. So the toggle happens whenever we click the login, we show the login box. Whenever we click the register, we hide the login box and show the register box, and vice versa. So this is the toggling operation we need to perform in order to show either the login or the register under the main like login form. So which one we need to do? And for this one, we need to store some variables into the state. So this variable is gonna like is login open, and the first one is gonna be like by default. So we will want is by default whenever the page loads is we want to show the login box instead of the register. So this is like by default gonna open up and is register open, and here we want to like see if we can show the register. So it's gonna be false, and we can like create two separate methods like show register box. And so this is just gonna do this set state. So remember that the set state, what it does, it's just gonna change the state and re-render everything into the components. So this is what it does, and we can go ahead and see is register open, and we can say, so since we want to show it, we can say true. And what we also want is to hide the login box, so we're not gonna have like confliction between of them. So is login open, and we're gonna put in here false, as you can see in here. So also what we want is show login box this set state. And also we need is login open. In this case, login is gonna be true and the register is gonna be false. So I'm just gonna hide between both of them, like toggling things up. And here under those are gonna be the controller that we're gonna need, and we need to add like an onClick method into them. So whenever we click something, we need to show the particular one since we are under the login. So we can pass in show login box dot bind this context, and make sure to go ahead and put that as well under here, under the register as well. So in this one, change it to show register box, and here we go. So everything should be working pretty much fine. Let's just go ahead and render this depending on the current state. So we can say this dot state dot is login open, and so like ending this, like taking this and saying if this is equal to true, and if this is like actually true, and the actual component that you want to render. So if this is like a true, it's just gonna render the components. If this is equal false, it's just gonna ignore the components and not gonna render it at all. So this is like a really quick hack to use it, or a trick to use it whenever you are using React and you want to hide and show or toggle between components or elements or whatever. This is what you really want to use. So here, as I've said, we want to put in the components. So this is gonna be the login box. The second thing we're gonna need is the same thing, but here instead of login, it's just gonna have a register box, and here is register open, and here we go. So here just gonna check between both of them, and whenever we toggle something, we're gonna know which one is like actually opened and which one is not. So let's just go back, enter the application in here, and we can see everything like what is going on. And as you can see here, we've got like an empty area. We almost got that. Well, we've got the inner container, and we've got the header, the box. So it's actually rendering something. It's rendering the register without the register being showed up for us, I believe, because now we have an invisible thing. So let me just go ahead and make that visible. So like change this, because I was doing that just for testing purposes, and here we go. So as you can see, automatically refresh for us. And here we go, we've got our first thing rendered out for us. So we've got register, we've got username, password, and login. And here, instead of register, we should be like changing that. Copy pasting can be very dangerous, so make sure to copy paste and change what it needs to be changed. So yeah, make sure to do that very quickly. And here we've got the login and we've got the register, but we can't quite, as you can see, we can toggle between them. So we push the register shows up, we push the login shows up, and vice versa. But the register doesn't have the email field yet, so just gonna go ahead and add it in a second. But what we want is, whenever we click the login, we want some kind of a border in the bottom that's gonna show us we are currently into the login section. If we are into the register, we're gonna see that border into the register instead of the login. And so, you know what I mean, like the toggle in between them. So therefore, we have like a special class for this. We can go in here as well, and what we can do is pretty much under the box control, I believe, yeah, under the class in here. So we can change this to a variable, and we can concatenate things. Make sure to use parentheses in here, and we can use an inline if statement. So we can say if state.is login open. If this is what we want is to add, I believe, selected controller class. So this selected controller class is gonna like take care of the adding the bottom border. Else, we're just gonna put nothing in there, and it's gonna be pretty much the same thing for the other one. And now for the second thing, gonna be the same one. So nothing more, nothing less. Here, just giving it space because we need to like separate between classes using spaces. And here, instead of this, so is register open, and we can put controller, and do not forget to put it there. So here, using the if statement, what it means, if this is true, what it wants is to return this, which means we need to concatenate and return this and concatenate with this, like add selected controller to the class name. Else, we're just gonna like return an empty string. This is the same thing. So this is the condition, and this is what happens. So this is the condition. If this condition is met, or is this true, we're just gonna return this. Else, if it's not true, the colon, just gonna return this. So this is like how, or a quick overview about synthetic or an inline if statement works without like using a really horrible if statement. This works pretty much fine. Let's just go ahead and see that pretty quickly. And right now, okay, now we want just missing an E between on the selected keyword, and just save it right now. And let's just go ahead and see. Going back, just see what's actually going on, and here we go. So you can see we get this really nice thing border from the bottom that gonna show us which login box that we are currently on, either the login or the register. Whenever we click that, we show it into the register. Click that again, we show into the login box. So as you can see, very basic thing that can make your day way much better, and actually make the user experience looks way much better. So this, like, you must consider things very little to make your work looks way much better than you think. And that's it actually, guys. We're gonna just continue in the next video tutorial. I'm gonna keep implementing of all the rest of the feature for the login form, so stay tuned for the next part.